Hello, everyone, and welcome to Total Retro Entertainment and Technology. This is a first-time emulation setup. We're using the Lenovo IdeaPad 3, which is an i3 1215U computer. I chose this because it is perfect for all emulation. It was originally going to be used the chip on a very low-cost handheld. Apparently, they were going to do a $300 handheld that had the i3 1215U and would have had 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. Now they did make that. They only made about a couple of hundred. The only one that actually did it was Neo. You really can't find anymore. I actually own one or two that have been modified, but this is a laptop using the same chip, 512 gigabytes of storage, and I got it for $262. I'll provide some links to where you can find an i3 1215U for under $300. The reason why we're doing under $300, that's the budget limit for this project. So today we're looking at the Atari 800 series, and we're emulating that. The Atari 800 series was first developed in 1979. It was actually the Atari 400 that started it. It had 8K of RAM, 8 kilobytes, ran on a 6502 chip, a CMOS 6502 chip at 1.79 megahertz for NTSC or 1.77 for PAL. Now, it did use a tape drive. It also had a disk drive that only covered about 100. I think it was about 120 kilobytes of storage. And what happened was the 800 came out next. It had 48 kilobytes of RAM. Actually, came out about the same time. And then it was superseded by the 800, the 600 XL, and the 800 XL. 600 XL had 16 kilobytes of RAM. 800 XL had 64 kilobytes of RAM. That was superseded by the 65XE and the 130XE. The 65XE had 64 kilobytes of RAM, and the 130XE had 128 kilobytes of RAM. The ROMs were changed during that time. The operating system was changed at that time. The disk drive was improved. It had some printers that were proprietary, but you also had other ways of connecting the standard printers to the computer. They had plenty of interfaces out for that. Also, the great thing was that they had cartridges that had a lot of games on, a lot of arcade conversions. And in my opinion, in many ways, I think the Atari 8-bit series was superior to the Commodore 64, mainly because of the way graphics were handled. Now, we're going to look at a game that was a type-in from Analog Magazine that came out in November of 1986 called Cosmic Glob. Now, this was one that I typed in, and for those of you who don't know, a type-in program was usually 7 to 10 pages of code that was entered into the computer. It usually had a checksum, and and if it was using machine language, it was a way of entering the code, and each line had a checksum, and it matched up, and you saved it correctly, you got your program. Some programs were done in BASIC. These were usually more utilities. There were some games written in BASIC that were type-ins as well, and those were interesting, to say the least. But this is a machine language program. I remember typing this in when I was at SUNY Buffalo, and I remember my roommates and I playing this to death while I was there. Wasn't a long time, but it was a good time we had with it. Now, the Atari 800 Win program is up to it's up to version 4.1, hasn't been updated since 2018. Therefore, I'm going to tell you to if you do download this program, I'll give you a link. I would set it for Windows 7 compatibility, Windows 7, and here's how it works. So we have the program. You have file. You can auto boot an image, attach a disk, attach a tape cartridge, load state or save state. You can set the machine type by default to the XLX series, E series. You'll see the 5200, which was the 8-bit successor to the 2600. The graphics were very similar, but it was a cartridge-based only system. Memory size, you could set up to 1088. 64 is the default. Video system, it defaults to PAL, but we're going to switch to NTSC since that's what I'm used to. And there you go. Let's see, we have various options, various patches. The ROM images are required, so you can pretty much get them anywhere. And I have them on a thumb drive that I use. And for future reference, in the future, I'm going to be doing demonstration in a future episode with a computer with a thumb drive and with a or with storage and with a controller that has all the home computers for, and the total will be under $100. So these are the ROM images. You need an Atari XL ROM, and Atari Basic ROM. Let's see. Disk drives are, you have tape recorder, hard disk if you have those options. Inputs. You can now it defaults to a number pad. Now I have a USB gamepad here. I don't recommend using wireless controllers. They don't seem to work as well. It's kind of a quirk, and I tried doing this originally on an Xbox controller. It didn't work out well. Let's see. Auto fire is on. Capture mouse. You can use the mouse to capture. Mouse option, keyboard options, network, sound options. I have it all. I have a default setting. I have just default settings. You can change that. Stereo if you want. And yes, I do prefer stereo for this. I think it's a good choice. Other items: restart the emulation, view the log file, disable collisions. You want to cheat, you can do that. You can convert files from one setting to another. It uses a wide variety of file settings. And when it crashes, it asks what to do, open the monitor, stop the emulation. I think you're going to find this very useful. Anyway, let's get to this game, Cosmic Glob. Now, you have a choice of players. You can choose one or two. Um, oh, sorry. Sorry, folks. I have to you do it this way. Okay, number of ships. You have a choice. You have one or two. Difficulty is 30 levels. They have mines. They have auto fire, and a control type you can change easily enough. Sorry. And the game's underway. Oh, shoot. Ah. It's got to go this way. That's why. Now, if it's in easy mode, you can move it around, but it automatically moves. But if it's in hard mode, like we have here, it moves only if you push the up arrow. And we got to basically shoot this thing, this glob that's moving around. Or we have to avoid the ship. And you don't get any point. You get 1 point for each section of the ship you shoot. You get no points for shooting the ship. The ship does not score you anything, and you have to avoid both the ship, you have to avoid the ship, the mines, and the glob. And it does work in 8 directions. So I'm going to try to do this a little differently for the next game. You have 25 points, and there goes the ship. Anyway, you can see it's kind of like an 8-bit arcade type game for the era. It waits for you to press a button or it defaults. And the glob resets after every death. So it's kind of like you can shoot at the ship, and you score bonus points for breaking the ship, but you don't. If it hits the mine, oh, yeah, that's the end of the first game. Now on my controller, the X is actually the fire button. Now the amazing thing about these games is that they only used one fire button. And you had controllers, and you had to go left. You had to go left to move over the control type, which is easy, which means it's going to be the easiest possible for this one. Now let's try this in easy mode. See if this helps. You see the difference? It actually is a lot easier, and I just walked right into it. Like I said, you score. The idea is to shoot this thing while avoiding everything. And it's kind of it takes a while to do this, and I remember playing this a lot. Even when I got home from Buffalo, I was playing this constantly because it was actually easier to do that and easy to run into. By the way, and yes, it will wait until it's clear, I think, and you have to wait until you get through. So you really have to watch out for a bunch of things here. I'm going to play one more game after this, and I'm going to do it without the mines. That'll probably help matters a bit. But you can see elements of early '80s arcade games here, even though the game came out in 1986 at the type in. I can see elements of it. There it goes. All right, I'm going to change something here. Ah. All right, we're going to play one more game this way, and then we're going to do we're going to do it the other way. Oh. So kind of the running and shooting is the approach that works here. Ah, that's what happens. It hits the mine and then it changes back. No, 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 it doesn't. Okay, then it's just me. As you can see, you can get a lot more fire off if you do that. And this is a two-player alternating turns game, so it's really you can do it that way. That's how it happens. It hits the mine and then it comes back. That's right. That's right. If it hits the mine, it reverts back. So you have to watch out for that. Ah, I got caught. So you get the idea. You got to kind of move around and avoid. Now, the one thing I don't like is that it only scores 1 point for each hit, where in an arcade game you would really score 10. So you can imagine you can put a 0 on there or something. And it takes a while to hit to get through it, and it's not an easy game the way it looks right now. So one more game, and we're going to do this with a little bit of change. And I'm going to take out the mines because they get in the way. So now you have only the glob and the ship, I guess you call it. I mean, it wasn't exactly fancy graphics at this point. You have to remember this was actually based on a 1979 computer, but still, it has elements. As you can see, it has a lot of elements of different games in there. So this is kind of the easy mode, I guess you could say. And it really has a random pattern. This ship, the ship that I can't collide with, it's kind of doing a random thing. It's not trying to follow me at all, so it's not doing that. But it's easy to run into if you're not careful. Huh? Ah, got me. All right. Ah, gotta watch out for the ship. Gotta keep watching out for the ship. Oh well. Four. And we'll just kill it off. Maybe I'll try to kill it this one time. There it goes. 500 points. And a free ship, I believe. And it goes a little bit differently now. The colors change. And the concept is the same. But the game is really good. So if you really like the challenge of the mines, I think it's really a good game to play. And the glob got me. Okay, that's all for tonight. I think that's the end of that. So I really want to thank you. So I really want to thank you for watching our video. This video. Next video, we're going to be doing a device. I haven't decided which one yet, but I have a suspicion I'll know very soon. And then from there, we're going to go back and forth pretty much between this computer, the i3-1215U, and other computers. And at some point, probably in the next month or two, I'll show you that $100 setup that I have. Thank you for watching.